Today's video is with Sean Kuhn of Vitruvian Farms, and we're talking greens in this video. These guys produce thousands of pounds of greens each week on their farm. They're tractor based, but they also do a small market garden that is sort of CSA based, but these guys really crank out the greens, and they're total experts when it comes to field greens. So in this video, kind of out in the field talking about the components that make up their salad mix. And if you like this kind of content, these are all snippets of longer form videos that are on my membership website from thefield.farm. And the registration for it is open now. So if you're interested in it, you want to check it out, go to the link in the show notes. You can sign up 30 days risk-free. If you don't like it, if you find it's not for you, you can get your money back. No hard feelings, no questions asked. This is for people who really want to go deep with this kind of content. Each week I visit an expert of some kind and I make a featured video, which is up to sometimes over an hour long. And then I'll often splice that up into little subject videos, which is kind of like what you're seeing right now. And I also do a Q&A every week with the members. So members submit questions in our community forum, and I just go through and answer questions as if I was consulting. So it's a lot of fun. Sometimes I do these live on YouTube, but if I don't do them live on YouTube, they're always done as either an audio podcast or sometimes a video that end up on the site. So check it out if you want to see more. Again, link is in the show notes. Enjoy this one. That's nice frisée.
Yep.
I'd love to just talk about frisée for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit overgrown for how I like it. This field actually ends up being, this was the CSA field a couple years ago, and we let it way too many weeds. So there's a lot more weeds in here than I would like. But I actually just harvested some of this on Monday. You can kind of see how high up I actually cut, because we're pretty strict on how long of a leaf we put into our mix. We always say hand height, and it's kind of like the width of your hand, so it ends up being about 4 inches or so. So it's really easy for us with the Ortomec to just adjust the height up a little bit and cut it at even height. And then what I would do is, which I'm not planning on another cutting for this because this already was a second cutting, I would come in here again and just trim it lower so that it was really clean for the third cutting, but
Okay.
it's not even necessary.
Right.
This is about to get turned under.
And does this go into your mix, or are some chefs actually buying just straight frisée?
It is going into our mix.
Okay.
Yep. And we do kind of taper off in the summer, just because it gets a little bitter for us. And that's pretty much the only complaint we ever get on our salad components.
Yeah. What are the components? I see a lot. It looks like the majority of beds I see are this all-star mix or whatever it is, and then a few other components. Can you talk about what's kind of in your salad?
Yep. So last year I completely changed. We used to grow every component individually. And last year I started combining what we have in the lettuce mix. That's just a custom blend of Johnny's red salad bowl, the root of air, and the Paris Island. Okay. They all grow at a very similar rate. The frisée is grown separately just because we can't seem to get that to work. It's a little bit slower. And then we're growing all of the brassicas for the mix together, which is a Mizuna, red Russian kale, and regular arugula, all from Johnny's. We grow our baby arugula obviously separately that we're selling, and the spinach is sold separately. So I'm mixing the Brassica mix and the lettuce mix myself. And it's been working out. There's a slight variation in size, but I found with the Brassicas, they kind of push each other a little bit more, so they almost kind of even out. Mizuna ends up being a little bit bigger than the others, but it's pretty acceptable.
Yeah. And then you guys are mixing that post-harvest and...
Yep, it gets mixed in a bulk tank with a bubbler, and then gets put into a second tank, which has a debugging reel, and then spun dry, and then goes onto a drying conveyor belt line.
You're direct seeding all these crops.
Yep.
And so there's never a time in the season that you're transplanting any of this stuff?
Not for the salad greens.
No.
CSA crops are getting transplanted by hand.
Yeah.
But salad greens are all going in with a Sutton Junior seeder that's mounted on a tractor. Up until last year, I was still using the Johnny 6-row, which would be 3 passes on these. Beds are about 42, 45 inches wide. The nice thing about that Sutton seeder is the beds can be way more lumpy. The 6-row seeder just needs play. It needs perfection.
That's right. So how many rows can you get on that Sutton?
How many rows? I think I've got it set up for 18, but I'm actually gonna reduce it because as I've gotten the beds a little bit higher this year, kind of both of the ends are a little bit closer to the sides. So I've got 18 rows on it right now. I'm actually gonna knock it down to 17 rows and just kind of adjust it a little bit.
Yeah.
So as we're moving this way, we're kind of, these were the first plantings and it kind of moves this way. So these are kind of on reserve right now. Those are second cuttings. I could use them if we have a lot of orders, or I can just till them in, which I probably am going to because the next crop is coming up super strong. Yeah, and there's really, like, at this time last year, we had immense flea beetle pressure on the Brassica crops, and this year they're hardly existent. And I think it's an interplay of the cold weather and that regular cultivating that I've been doing.
So can we talk about this crop particular? So this is your mustard mix.
Yep. And so this is by far overgrown.
Okay.
This is way overgrown.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, what's your target?
If you want to see the target, we can go down here.
Yeah, perfect.
So this would be more at target for frisée.
Right.
And then I'm coming in and cutting about an inch above the soil line.
Yep. And so you're, probably this time of year, the weather is stable enough that you're basically like clockwork on these.
Yeah, right now we've been playing with this school account and whatnot, so I've been all over the place in terms of like what do I need to keep and what do I not. These lettuces are just past prime.
Just like maybe by a couple days.
Yep. You can see I harvested the first.
Yep.
So the other thing that I realized I could start doing, I was still kind of learning that new seeder last year, and I started seeding them a little bit more densely now. So I'm actually getting a lot more pounds per section than I was previously.
What kind of yield are you talking per section?
Let's see, we were probably doing at like a perfect height, so not like oversized at all. We're probably doing 5 bins at 15 to 18 pounds per bin. So somewhere around 70 to 90 pounds per 100 feet.
Oh, I thought a section was 50 feet.
Yeah, so these areas are, so if you just cut it in half, so
okay.
45. These, from that grass lane to this grass lane is 100 feet. So that's 2 sections. Yeah. I would say three bins then probably per section.
That's really good.
And obviously it comes in a lot more if we're cutting, 25% above our target.
Yeah.
But down here is, this is pretty much prime size for us for the lettuce. Because if I go through and if I were to cut that, then I'd have to come through and do a cut down afterwards on it just to trim it up, which is obviously more work.
Like a manicure cut to kind of clean it up for the next. Is that what you mean?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're actually just starting to get baby spinach at a density level that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
This one is pretty decent and it's kind of getting a little bit better. These brassicas probably would have been cut yesterday for prime, so they're also just past. And you can kind of see how the Mizuna kind of really starts taking off if you wait too long.
Yes, it's going for survival. It's trying to reach for more light.
But before that point, they're actually pretty even. Even the kale, the red Russian kale, is pretty even if you get in there early enough. So
yeah, wow. I've never seen that. I've never done that myself. I've always
mixed
just
them?
No, I never mixed it. I tried once. It was the Mizuna that always screwed me up. It got too lanky.
I think, and because I was talking to a grower out in the east, and he's the one that suggested it to me, and he mixes even more than that. He said as long as you're planting them densely enough, they will stay fairly even. If they're not dense enough, then the Mizuna is going to find it, you know, get it a lot bigger than the other ones.